participants, good afternoon. Thank you for joining this webinar organized by Augstsprieguma tīkls, also called AST. Today we're hosted by the chairperson of the board, Gunta Jakobsone, and member of the board, Gatis Junhans, who will present AST unaudited financial results of 12 months 2022 and inform about other key events in the company. The presentation will be followed by a live Q&A session. To submit your questions to the company, please use the Q&A window that you can find beneath the presentation. This session is being recorded and the recording will be available shortly. I am now handing over to the presenters.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining. Today we will walk you through the unaudited consolidated financial results from AST for 2022. And my name is Gunta Jakobsone. I'm chairperson of the management board at the AST, and also my colleague Gatis Junhans, who is member of the management board. Firstly, I would like to walk you quickly through about the group profile. And first of all, AST is 100% owned by Republic of Latvia. There is a minor change in regards to the shareholder representative, which from the Ministry of Finance right now is Ministry of Climate and Energy. We are regulated a public service provider. We are in natural monopoly situation. Our current WACC as per regulator stands at 2.72% level, and the RAB is 433 million euros. We are glad that we hold very strong long-term credit rating, which is A-. We are awarded in a sustainability, and we hold the Platinum award, Platinum level. Our green bonds we emitted back in 2021 in amount of 100 million euros. We operate more than 5,000 kilometers of transmission lines. We operate 140 substations, and we transmitted 4.2 terawatt hours electricity back in 2022. We are also a shareholder of Baltic Regional Coordination Center, and the split in between the Baltic countries is equal. So we own 1/3 of the Regional Coordination Center. AST is also main shareholder of Connexus Baltic Grid. We're really glad to inform you that Connexus Baltic Grid has high S&P rating, which is BBB+. And Inčukalns gas storage, which is one of the largest and also modern gas storages in Europe, also is operating a transmission system, and the length of the system is more than 1,000 kilometers. And 31.4 terawatt hours natural gas was transmitted back in 2022. Just a couple of key highlights and priorities for AST for 2022. The main and absolutely the key priority was working on a synchronization projects. We signed contract with the supplier on synchronous condensers. We continued constructions of a power line with Estonia. We established a regional coordination center, and it is in operation from the July 1st, 2022. We also continued the digital transformation program, and of course, efficiency is high on our agenda. We look on every possibility, optimize the cost to improve the processes, and of course, therefore, having absolutely the lowest possible impact on the tariff, which is very important for all the society. However, year 2022 came with the new challenges with the started war in Ukraine, and therefore we put additional focus to ensure energy supply and safety of energy supply. And we put extra effort on cyber security. And what I can tell that we are ready for emergency desynchronization if that would happen. So on there, really AST put a lot of efforts, not only in Latvia, but also working with neighboring countries and with Poland. And we put really high attention to make sure that all what is stated on the sanctions list is fully implemented on AST. Then a few more details on 2022 and specifically on synchronization and investments in infrastructure. As mentioned, we continued the reconstruction of the transmission lines by the time when the synchronization will take place as per plan. So there will be 3 reconstructed lines with Estonia. We also worked a lot on development of a Baltic balancing market to be ready for with the integration within European Union. We established a backup system management center ensuring high reliability on and system security. And also Connexus Baltic Grid put a lot of efforts to strengthen connection with Lithuania, and also worked on do more modernization for the storage. And as an example, 3 compressor modernizations in Inčukalns took place. On AST, we did a good job to attract ES fundings, and we signed the contract for synchronization phase 2, and we speak about funds in amount of 38 million euros. There were rather significant changes in a tariff methodology, which are good, and that was really close cooperation between AST and the regulator. And we also submitted the new tariff project. And of course, the future is impossible without high focus on sustainability questions. And we continue to work on to build the green substations, the new solar park as came also to our network, and now we can transmit more solar produced energy. And also Connexus Baltic Grid is working on a biogas to use the Connexus Baltic Grid infrastructure in full also in the future. Going further, the year 2022 was really outstanding in terms of high electricity prices, and I will ask Gatis to give more flavor on details besides what you have already seen as a fact of high electricity prices.
Yeah, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Russia's war affected the energy market, and it moved energy prices to unprecedented level also in the Baltic region, and it affected our company's performance, financial performance. And in 2022, average electricity price in Latvia increased almost 3 times compared to year before, and approximately 6 times to compare to 2020. So it was a substantial increase. And as a system operator for operation of our grid, we also consume electricity. And we are, in fact, one of the largest consumers of electricity in Latvia. Therefore, our operational costs were affected by this price spikes. And since we are procuring all electricity in Nord Pool exchange, we don't hedge it. So this price increase in power exchange directly and immediately also affected our costs. Yeah, that's. And here on this slide, you can see main trends in transmitted electricity. Maybe the main takeaways from the left graph is that transmitted electricity to users is relatively stable in Latvia because such is also electricity demand in Latvia, relatively stable. There are fluctuations in transmitted power in a transmission grid, which includes also transit, but this volatility is not affecting our financial results. And in the graph, you also see our energy loss is trend, so it's approximately 200 gigawatt hours per year, which we are procuring in power exchange. And on the right side, you can see a trend in how generation portfolio is changing in Latvia. And due to increase in renewable production and also due to a reduction in gas-fired power plant generation last year, specifically due to gas-saving activities, renewable generation proportion increased also last year. With regards to natural gas grid, here in a slide you can see trends in gas transmission volumes. So one takeaway from this graph is that you can observe a reduction of transported gas to end users in Latvia. It's reduced from 12.5 terawatt hours to 8.8 terawatt hours, and this is largely due to saving of natural gas for the winter, and saving took place in many parts, but the greatest effect was from reducing the gas demand in electricity production power plants. At the same time, there is also a trend in gas volumes in underground gas storage, and here you can observe that it is unchanged, the stored gas at the end of the year, despite the difficult situation in gas supply situation. So the amount of gas in our storage was similar like in previous years. That only indicates that in Latvia, stakeholders managed to do their job effectively to secure sufficient gas for the winter. Luckily, winter turned out to be relatively mild, and it also helped to let through the winter in a secure way.
And now I will walk you through the AST key financials. And we see that financials are strong despite the fact that 2022 was a really challenging year, where the electricity price increases led to the situation that cost for electricity loss, which is natural from the physics, became largest part of our total cost base. A little bit more on details, and as a result of effective communication between the shareholder and the regulator, AST has received the green light to use accumulated congestion income to cover electricity transmission losses. As a result, AST was able to reach its target of 40 million euros EBITDA. Revenue in AST in 2022 increased by 135% to 296 million euros, which is caused by the high electricity price and movement in balancing market, and also increase in a congestion income. Both balancing market activities and congestion income is a bit the profit neutral. Profit of AST reached 11 million, but it is affected by one-off usage of congestion income in amount of 36.5 million euros to cover transmission losses that were caused by increased electricity price. And due to higher electricity prices in 2022, the transmission losses of other operational costs increased, and losses from electricity transmission reached 32.1 million euros. By using congestion income that's usually used for capital expenditure, losses have been reduced, and AST reports a positive result for year 2022. On AST and groups capital structure, as you see from the charts, it is well balanced. And equity for AST stands at 47%, and for the group it is at 49%. Assets volume increase is explained by congestion income. Equity decrease is explained by because of dividend payment last year, and total borrowings for AST stand at 100 million level, which is green bonds, and for the group it is at 183 million euros level. If we look on the revenues, we see the revenues increased by 93%, where changes in EBITDA consequently are plus 5%. Speaking about each and every segment separately, then on a electricity transmission, there is we report positive change. On a gas transmission, it is negative because of a significant decrease on a consumption, and gas consumption decreased by approximately 30%. However, gas storage is reporting a positive development, and it is because of really good use of Inčukalns gas storage. A little bit more on the financial indicators as per segment, and the revenue from electricity transmission segment increased by 170 million euros, which is 135% year on year, which is caused by sharp increase in a balancing electricity market and a surplus of congestion income, including used amount to cover transmission losses and reach target EBITDA. Revenues from gas transmission and storage in reporting period was 55.1 million euros, which is 3% less than the prior year. CBG EBITDA during the reporting period decreased by 4% in comparison to 2021, reaching 32.2 million euros. Due to reduced amount of gas transmission, revenue from gas transmission has reduced from 32.4 million euros to 26.3, but on the gas storage side, revenue has improved from 24 to 28.9 million euros due to higher demand of Inčukalns underground gas storage demand from Baltic and Scandinavian consumers. Now maybe the main slide on the financial ratios and borrowings, and AST is reporting really strong financial ratios, and all the financial conditions included the commitments and the agreements are fulfilled. And also we have available credit line to ensure the liquidity. And in the table, you can see all the details on the financial ratios and the borrowings. As having said that, we see that we have fulfilled all the financial conditions, and the results in this part are also strong. A few words on a capex expenditure per segment. Back in 2022, majority investments went to electricity transmission, and major projects started already before 2022 are on a synchronization, both phase 1 and phase 2, reconstruction of substations, And also, Connexus Baltic Grid did solid investments in a gas transmission, strengthening the connection between Latvia and Lithuania, and also in a gas storage, making it even more modern and being able to fulfill the customer needs. Speaking about capital investments for upcoming years, we speak about more than 300 million euros for the period 2023 to 2026. We continued already started the synchronization project, and it all goes both for reconstruction of existing connection lines with Estonia, and also by investments in a needed equipment, speaking about the large size batteries, also synchronous condensers, and we estimate to complete all the large synchronization projects until 2026. And also AST is working hard to receive EU funds, and with this red on the graph, we colored red the size of the support from European funds in a capital investments projects. Going further, tariff is one of the topics being discussed. And just to remind ourselves that the previous tariff was approved in 2020, and it was in force for 2021 and 2022. And as mentioned last year, the regulator introduced a new methodology. And the new methodology, we see a few positive and important things for AST. And first of all, it is diverting a part of electricity congestion revenues to the tariff, which has then less negative impact on the tariff. And also submitting, going forward, we can submit to regulatory invoice sooner. We should not wait until end of the tariff period. Currently, we see that new tariff will come in force, will be approved starting from July 1st. Few comments to the tariff work on tariff project. We work hand in hand also with the saddle states to make the tariff period more aligned. Also with the saddle states, there is electricity price ceiling, which is temporary. Also for a power reserve charge ceiling, which is temporary solution to reduce impact on the tariff. However, going forward, we see that the new methodology fully will support AST needs. Also, the tariff project, we plan that new tariff will coming in force from July, will be applicable until end of 2025, and also that we can use congestion income to cover expense, which we also see as a temporary solution, because in a situation with extremely high electricity prices, looking from a government point of view and the impact to the society, we see this as a good short-term solution. Going forward, the key priorities for AST for 2023, our main goal is really to ensure safe and reliable power transmission, and we continue to work on a synchronization projects to be ready at the end of 2025. We are ready for emergency situations if those would appear, and we continue to put a high focus on cyber security. On a grid transformation, there is a high interest, and good that it is so, on to increase the renewable energy capacity, and that goes hand in hand with the strengthening our networks. And also, as mentioned before, we continue to work on a green substation. We continue to work on a digital transformation, and it is a continued development to improve the processes, work on a change management, and also to increase the knowledge of employees in regards to the usage of IT systems. And our main asset, of course, is people, and we continue to work to improve further skills of our employees. And of course, engagement and high engaged employees is a key for success and safe operations of a transmission system.
Yeah, similarly, like AST requires power to run electricity grid. We also require balancing reserves to stabilize the grid and to ensure continuous energy balance in the system. And 10 years ago, when electricity market was liberalized, AST and also all consumers would start to enjoy competition in procuring electricity. Similar process is ongoing currently in a balancing area. AST, together with its neighboring transmission system operators, is developing a regional balancing market to open competition. And this goes together with also with European Union regulation requirements to introduce a pan-European balancing market. And here on a slide you can see a roadmap of developing Baltic regulation and balancing market, which is published also on our website. But essentially in the coming 2 years, AST as a Latvian TSO will join pan-European balancing platforms, here named Mari and Picasso platforms. And by end of 2024, we will also introduce a regional balancing reserve capacity market, which will open a competition and will allow AST to procure balancing reserves in a more efficient manner. And here in this slide, you can see a growing trend. It's a forecast of balancing reserve requirements for all Baltic transmission system operators together in the coming years. In 2025, when we plan to decouple from Russia unified power system and synchronize with European power system, our balancing reserve requirements will double, and there will be also new types of balancing reserves required. And then in future, as renewable generation will penetrate more in a Baltic grid, the balancing reserve requirements will increase further. And this is the reason why developing a Baltic balancing reserve market is of critical importance, so that AST can effectively procure those reserves.
Thank you. And now we would love to answer your questions.
Yes, thank you for the presentation. Let's continue with the Q&A session. To ask your question to the company, please use the Q&A window. The first question that we have received: which projects have been currently financed from the green bond issue? How much of proceeds are already used?
Yes, thank you. We already reported last year that we used 71 million euros for green projects. Going more into details, it is 60 million in Kurzem sloks, 3 million in connections building between Latvia and Estonia, and also 8 million to the change of transformers. Those projects, mainly transformers and connection to Estonia, help to reduce loss in the network, and also allows to connect more renewable energy to our grid. More details will be provided while publishing our audited annual statement for 2022.
Thank you. What types of renewable energy AST is producing? Which type is expected to increase the most in upcoming years?
EU regulation generally forbids transmission system operators to engage in electricity production business. So we are not producing, and we are not planning to produce electricity. But what we are doing, we are connecting new generation projects to our transmission grid. And currently there's a substantial influx of new projects, and those are almost exclusively renewable generation projects, solar and wind parks.
Thank you. Does AST suffer from employee deficiency? Are there any measures being taken to support employee attraction in the future?
Turnover in AST is low. We are working with the universities to attract new talents going forward. Also internally, we are working on programs for employees development, and also on a succession.
Thank you. All questions have been answered. The recording of the webinar will soon be available online. Please follow AST announcements to stay up to date with company's news. Thank you for joining the call today.
Thank you.